week. My name is Nicolina Samak, and I am joined here with senior linebacker Mason Russ. Mason, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great, easy day of classes. Excited to go for this game this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So we are super excited to be covering this game in just a few minutes, but for now, we're actually going to ask you a couple of questions. So last year, John Carroll had a historic season. They made it the farthest into the playoffs they had in 6 years, and it was honestly just a fun time to watch. As you're heading into your senior year, what expectations have you or the defense kind of set heading into this new season?
I think just as a team, we carry high expectations, especially after last year's success. And I think there's a lot to build off of. Like last year ended with a bit of a sour taste for us. So it's going to be exciting to go into this season knowing that what potential we have, especially with the way last year ended. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to finally playing a good, meaningful game this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a super awesome game, especially with Johns Hopkins being ranked 3, John Carroll moving up from 25 to 20. So like I mentioned, you're in your senior year, which is very exciting, your 4th year playing at John Carroll. What are some things that you're doing to really help build this program? I know there's a lot of younger guys on the team, especially on the defense.
Yeah, just trying to set a good example, lead by example, whether it be in the film room, in the weight room, like off-season training, whatever it is, just pointing those guys in the right direction and trying to build the program to the standard we expect to be at.
Definitely. So, as some people may know, you are from Kirtland, Ohio, which is also my alumni hometown, and it's a huge football school up in Northeast Ohio. In your career, you won 3 state championships and was a part of the team that had the longest active win streak in America, which was 55 games. What was the transition like from high school to college football?
It's pretty surreal to think about how successful we were in high school, but just transitioning into college, it's a completely different experience. Like Kirtland, much smaller, a lot less guys. You grew up with them playing football since you were a kid. But coming here, you meet a whole new group of brothers at this point for me, like in my 4th year. But it's just a lot different. You step in with a little bit different of a role. Sometimes you're a role player when you're a freshman, so it's definitely an adjustment, but it's been a good thing. I've definitely grown as a person.
Yeah, and even for me, it was crazy watching my little brothers grow up, starting playing the C team in 6th grade and then making it all the way to senior year. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. If you could give a piece of advice to your high school self now that you're in your senior year here, what would it be? I
think it would really just be really soak up the moments that you have with the coaches and with the older guys when you're a younger guy, because it makes a world of difference just being prepared and getting to know people and making friends when you're a younger guy on the team, and just getting to learn the way that things are done in a new program, I guess. Yeah, so there's actually a few guys who are from Kirtland who play on the football team, including you. There's George Prusak, Will Bates, and most recently Gino Blasini, who is coming from Miami. What has it been like for you to play with those guys that you played with in high school, and especially with Gino being on a defense and actually a very similar position? Yeah, it's special just to play with guys you've known your whole life. Growing up, we played football together, and it's just cool. Looking next to me, I see a guy that I've grown up with and I can trust. I think it builds another level of trust, and it's just awesome being able to go out there with your buddies on a Saturday and playing for such a prestigious university. Yeah, so one of the major themes in John Carroll Athletics as a whole is the transition into the North Coast Athletic Conference. We haven't actually played an in-conference game yet, starting with 2 non-conferences, but what has the training and even practices been like as we prepare for kind of a new chapter in our rivalries? Obviously it's going to be different. We've never seen, especially on for defense, we haven't seen these offenses the way they operate. So it's a new challenge each week. In previous years, we kind of know the tendencies of teams being in the OAC, and a lot of our staff is from the OAC. So it's a complete change. So it brings a full challenge every week that we got to really prepare. It doesn't matter how good or bad a team might be on paper. We got to prepare for what their schemes are because we've never seen them before. Yeah. Is there any games in this season that you've circled that you're just really excited to play? Obviously this game coming up against Johns Hopkins is going to be one of the bigger ones this year, but I'm just really looking forward to each week to week. It really doesn't matter the opponent, just trying to sharpen the axe, as we say, and prepare for the next battle.
Yeah, so last week the team traveled to Waynesburg University in Pennsylvania where they notched their first win of the season, and there's actually a couple historical records broken. I believe it was the highest amount of points scored in a season opener since 2002, which is actually, I believe, almost everybody on the team.
Yeah.
What was the energy like in the locker room after that game? And even with so many, records broken like Nick Semptenfelter's, and for you led the team with 8 tackles.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I mean, me personally and a lot of most of the guys on the team, we haven't won our opening game in, I don't know if it's 6 years or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely cool for us guys to get off to a 1-0 start, which we haven't done in our careers. And just playing a team like that, I think it was a perfect preparation for what we're about to see against Johns Hopkins. In previous years we've had a shorter camp, so that was a good way to get us sharp and ready to go for this week again.
Yeah, so like I had mentioned, you grabbed 8 tackles in the game against Waynesburg, so you've notched the top spot on the JCU roster so far. What was your mentality kind of going into that game, and what did you want to set in stone just to take on for the rest of the season?
I mean, I'm just trying to do my job, doing my responsibility with my teammates around me, and I think it was just cool. I wanted to show what I could do as someone who's starting this year, because I got to play a little bit last year, but it was good to step into that role and find success, especially in the first game of the season.
Yeah, so as we've kind of talked about football, we also want our listeners to kind of understand what it is like in your life off the field and on the field. So we have a couple of fun questions for you to answer today. So outside of football, what sport do you feel or wish that you could go pro in?
It's a tough one. I mean, I've always been a huge sport. I've always played like the big 3: football, baseball, basketball. But I think I would get into like some sort of like race car driving or something like that.
That'd be really fun.
Cool.
Yes, that would be so fun. That F1 stuff is so fascinating, and it's like you just want to, what is it like to drive 200 miles an hour?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So at any level of football, what team would you say has your favorite jerseys?
I got to go to the Ohio State game last year in the shoe against Tennessee, and the full scarlet, all red for Ohio State, I think that just looks cool in sports.
The energy in those stadiums is so amazing. I
So
can't even
awesome.
imagine that game, especially against Tennessee. So final question out of all the fun questions is, who on the football team has your favorite celebration, and can you kind of describe it for us?
I feel like guys are always coming up with new stuff every week. So I feel like it's totally a week-to-week thing. Waz always does his thing when he makes a sack or a TFL, but I don't know. Everybody's always got something cool week to week, so I don't know if I could pick with just one.
Yeah, it's so fun for us watching from the press box and trying to figure out who's doing what. I know Grant Myers last week, he talked about a really fun celebration, and he said to look out for it, and I didn't get to see it, but definitely this week I'm going to be looking for it. So again, thank you so much for coming out, answering these questions. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, be sure to stay tuned, because shortly following this interview, myself and Owen Close are going to be on the call for the matchup against Carroll and Johns Hopkins. So stay tuned right here on WJCU 88.7.